What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome to the channel. Hope you're having a great start to your weekend. So it is Friday, and we are still going sideways. Now, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. We've talked about the Bollinger Bands. You and I both know that this can only continue for so much longer before we have a massive squeeze either to the upside or to the downside. Now, some people are saying, well, you're basically saying it could go up or it could go down, right? I do have a bias to the upside, but I have not ruled out a potential fake out to the downside first. Now, I went over that in my video yesterday, why that could happen. But what we're seeing is that Bitcoin is actually showing a lot of similarities, not to the previous bear market, but to the bear market just before. So I do want to talk about what I'm expecting with this price action. Monday or Tuesday, we're most certainly going to have the big move, but it's not only that, guys. This is the absolute calm before the storm. And I'm not just talking about Bitcoin price alone. I'm talking about the ultimate calm, the end of the fiat experiment. And I know that that sounds crazy, but everyone is very scared about what to be expecting for these rate hikes. In fact, you could see most people are anticipating that 94% are anticipating a 75 basis point raise. But the truth is that the Fed really cannot continue to do this for much longer. And the bigger picture is actually positioning Bitcoin in such a place that it could send demand absolutely skyrocketing. And you can basically just throw all these price targets out the window. Forget about 100K, 250K. We're talking about an absolute ceiling that we may never hit if this does happen. And you're going to want to stick around because I actually have two different video clips I'm going to play you in today's video. And I think you should definitely stick around because there are actually so many opportunities right now, even in a bear market. And I do want to explain that if you pay attention and if you can just get through this moment of turmoil, whether it be for the next year or 2 years, I know 2 years seems like a lifetime in crypto, you, my friend, will be positioned in a place of life-changing wealth. And I'm going to go into exactly why I believe this is possible. So if all that sounds good to you today, guys, thank you so much again for coming back. Trust me, this video, I couldn't do it enough justice in the intro. You're just going to have to watch it. We have so many things to go over, but let's talk about the charts. And of course, guys, if you're not subscribed, definitely get subscribed. We are going to continue to make these videos, bull market, bear market, crab market. I'm not going anywhere. We're going to stick this one out. Now, having a look right here, yes, guys, the same thing has been holding us down. We've had this chart literally for about 5 months now. You're probably sick of looking at this falling wedge as much as I am. And what is scaring people is that we are putting in this descending triangle, right? Because we did have it way back here, right? We had the same thing. And what ended up happening? 50% crash, right? But you can argue, though, in a weird way, we were kind of putting it in right here, and yet we went to the other side. We went to the upside, right? So having a look right here, obviously, falling to the downside could bring us back down to some of these scary levels of 16. However, if we can break out to the upside, even after having a potential fake out, you're talking about Bitcoin potentially being able to rally all the way back up to around this $24,000 area. Now, obviously, we would not be out of the bear market. We would still be, at that point putting in lower highs, right? But that could be a start, breaking that trend, right? And you could see right here, we pretty much are at the end of this move. I mean, you could argue maybe we have 1, 2, but these are the weekends, right? So then we open up on Monday. So Monday, is basically right here, and Tuesday. So I cannot see this pattern staying in here for any longer than Tuesday. Literally, if it goes beyond Tuesday, then we're outside the pattern, which would be pretty crazy to see. Now, obviously, could the pattern extend if you want to, maybe drop a line down here? Maybe say these touches, okay, maybe we could go a little bit farther if that's the case. Wednesday, Thursday, Bitcoin could be hanging around $18,700. That's possible. But the reason that I have this line so significant is because it's had the most point of contact, right? We've had this contact here, this here, multiple days. We had a wick down here. We had a fake out right here. We had multiple instances of touching that point here. And of course, you could see this wick that we had yesterday perfectly to that level, which is why, once again, I do think that we are looking for a big move. And if you want to talk about why the bias could be to the upside and why I actually think that what we're seeing is more reminiscent, really, of let me switch this to the weekly because there's too many candles to be looking at right now. Reminiscent to more of this bear market back here. I want to show you the similarities, right? So if we actually have a look at what we're seeing on the market cipher indicator. So first of all, you can see right here, down here, we did have this green dot, right? You can see this green dot. Now we've only ever had 4 of these in history, but remember I told you, you need certain circumstances to have this validated. What do you need? You need to have the green dot. You need to have, money flow in the red. You need to have the RSI oversold, and you need to have the VWAP moving into the positive, right? This little yellow area. I know it's very small for you guys to see. And at that point right here, that is what we had. We had all of those happening. Same thing right here, right? Same conditions, right? The bottom was in right here. We had all of those conditions. And if we look at this right here, we're having all of those conditions again. Oversold RSI. We have the VWAP potentially moving up. We don't really know right yet. It was moving up when we got the signal, and we are in the red. And the other thing is we are having this anchor and trigger wave. You see how we have this bigger wave down here and then this smaller blue wave up here? And if you actually go back to what we had way back here, we had something very similar, right? Remember, this was a fake out. We did not have all 4 of those. We needed the RSI to be lower. We were still in the green, so this one did not count. But you could see we have that anchor wave and we have that trigger wave. And look at this, guys. That's where we had the fake out, right? We had this fake out candle actually fall below this candle right here. I know my drawings are all over the place, and that is what I'm saying is a possibility. A lot of people are anticipating that we are going to be going to these very, very low levels. And there's a lot of people looking to short the market and looking to buy at those levels down there, right? So what we had seen is we had this low. The low stayed in for a while back in, that bear market. And then we had one more fake out to the downside, which actually went lower than this candle. That's when everyone started shorting. Everyone thought that the market was going to crash. And guess what? The markets literally had a major, major rebound to the upside and never looked back from that point, right? You can see right here, we had the first low right here. That low that we had right here stayed in for months and months and months, and then boom, right here, fake out, lower low, continue to the upside. Now, am I saying that's what's going to happen? Not too sure, guys, but you could see right here, every single time we've gotten down to this 89 EMA, we have been bought up, and that level is sitting at around 18,250. So I'm not telling you guys what to do, not financial advice. Be safe. Don't risk more than you can afford to lose. But obviously, if we do have a fake out to the downside, there is a very strong probability that somewhere in this region just below this 89 EMA, excuse me, we could be looking for that fake out and then rally to the upside. And if you guys do want to trade, I do highly recommend you check out the tutorial popping up above. There is over $16,000 in bonuses below, so make sure that you guys obviously take advantage of that in these bear market times. But let's talk about why we could see this fake out as well. So Sentiment pointed out that we have short positions opening up in large quantities for most altcoins as well, on top of Bitcoin, as traders are trying to profit. Now, they say historically, when funding rate shows significant shorts, liquidations are more common and surprise bounces can occur. Now, of course, history does not have to repeat. Maybe this time everybody is right. Maybe this time everybody goes short and the markets do tank and everybody makes money this time, right? Possible, but not likely. Historically speaking, it would be more of a fake out. It would either be a dump to the downside followed by a massive move to the upside, or just simply a big move to the upside. And I am anticipating a lot of volatility. And like I said, Tuesday is absolutely the latest day. After that, we would actually just be out of the pattern, right? Now, why could you say there is a little bit of stalling? Well, we could see right here, the Fed is barreling towards their 4th straight 75 basis point raise, but there could be a possibility of coming down to 50 in December. Now, if we do start to see the Fed reversing, this could actually start giving some confidence in the markets. And actually, technically, it wouldn't be a full-on pivot because I don't think that they're going to just instantly start reversing the rates, right? That was the problem that they had in the first place. Most likely what they're going to end up doing is start to slowly back off and then maybe just let it ride out for a year or so. Now, the good news is that 94.2% are anticipating that we are going to have, 375 to 45. So this is basically saying that they're looking towards a 75 basis point raise. So if we do get the 75 basis point raise, I don't personally think it's going to affect markets negatively since the majority of markets are anticipating it. However, if for some crazy reason the Fed does come out and do 50, then that could actually kickstart the rally because that shows that they're starting to back down. However, let's be honest, the likelihood that they end up doing that is probably not going to happen. But I want to give a massive shout out to Simply Bitcoin. I just recently started watching this channel, by the way, and I really, really enjoy the interviews that these guys put on. And they were doing an interview with James Lavish, and it's called The End of the Fiat Experiment. And he basically just talks about the situation that the Fed is in right now. He does give his projections, and he explains why Bitcoin is positioning itself as such a positive and attractive opportunity, not just for traders, not just for investors, but even just for these sovereign funds, for even these countries as well, right? He goes in to talk about the BRICS, and he talks about why the Fed cannot do this without absolutely breaking. So excellent interview, and I do want to just play this short clip for you.
But this is where we're at. So what do? Well, that's called a debt spiral. That is, and there's no way out. You can't keep it up. Why does it matter so much today? Well, we're in a rising interest rate environment. Okay, we have a third of our debt that matures in about 18 months, and about half it matures in roughly 4 years. Right? And if we've got our interest rate right now, so think about it. You've got your interest expense is $400 billion, right? So it's about 1.3% ish for your average interest rate on your debt. What's the interest rate today? It's 4%. That's on the 10-year. And they're talking about bringing us up to 5.5%. I mean, so 5% on $31 trillion of debt. It doesn't take a math genius to see that this doesn't work. Okay, so they know this. So what can they do? Well, they need to raise rates super fast. And this is what Michael is showing. They know they need to raise them super fast, crush demand, because this is a supply side issue as well. It's not just demand issue, it's a supply side issue. So, but they're going to crush demand. They're going to put people out of jobs. They're going to, the unemployment is going to go up. Housing is going to get crushed. Borrowing is going to go lower. And then, then they'll be able to pause and take the rates down in the next, I'd say by 2024, they're lowering the rates. And because they cannot refinance at 5%. The debt will be gargantuan so quickly if we do that. So it's not likely. So what are we going to do? We're going to pivot, and then we'll resume QE with, when we're in a recession. That's my base target. Now look, let me back up a second. This is what I believe with a high degree of confidence. I'm not saying this is definitely going to happen, but if I look at probabilities, this is the thing that's most likely to happen in my view, in Luke Groman's view, in Larry Lepard's view. We've talked about these things. This is the most likely thing to happen. Does it happen like this? I don't know. But as an investor, all you can do is attach probabilities to things and position yourself that way.
So what will this world look like? Here Z-Logic says it perfectly. I'll ask his question. It says, what will be the consequences of the coming restructuring?
Well, which restructuring are we talking about? We're talking about taking the whole restructuring of the United States debt and our monetary system. I don't look. What I hope, what all of us should hope, is that that the U.S. Treasury becomes unseated as the global reserve asset. It will, okay? But what we hope is that it becomes unseated in kind of a whimper. We don't want it to crash. We don't want an implosion. We want Bitcoin to gain enough traction, get enough confidence in it, have enough value in it. The market value has to be massive. It's got to start absorbing the store of value, gold and silver. It's got to start absorbing some of the risk assets and equities. It's got to start absorbing the speculative investments in real estate. It's got to start absorbing bonds. And once it starts absorbing bonds, well, that's when it's at the level that it is an absolute. It is a portion of your portfolio that is a separate asset class. And once it's there, then it can be a reserve asset, and it'll be worth millions. I mean, it's just pure math. It's simple math. But there's nothing out there that can do this. You might have we're hearing that the BRICS is coming together, Brazil, Russia, India, Saudi Arabia, and China. The thing is, do they use Bitcoin? Do they use gold? They're not using treasuries. That they're looking to have a reserve asset that's non-US Treasury. They're sick of being beholden to the Treasury. China can't really do much about it right now because our trade relationship is so integral to their economy, but they're looking for something. Gold it's too easy to manipulate with the paper market. But I could see some sort of mix of gold and Bitcoin, and then eventually just Bitcoin. It's just the future. And whether that happens in my lifetime, I'm 50 years old. If that happens in my lifetime, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked.
And as you guys know, I was in Dubai, and I can tell you, it is like night and day. I spent a week in Dubai, and after talking to people over there, you could see the Middle East and North Africa, or they call them the MENA regions, have recorded an increase in crypto transaction volume of 48% in the period between June 2021 and June 2022. This is the largest in the world. This was according to the 2022 Geography of Cryptocurrencies report, and you could see that the Middle East, the MENA countries and Latin America are really, really taking over. North America coming in third place right here. You are seeing massive crypto adoption, massive crypto embracing of crypto in these places. And, yet, we're over here in the US and we think it's all doom and gloom. And we think that, the hammer's coming down. No, that's not what's happening. We are seeing global, support for this. According to the report, they say MENA is also home to top 30 countries, including Turkey, Egypt, and Morocco. Use cases around savings, preservation, and remittance payments, as well as increasingly permissive crypto regulations, help explain why. Now, there's another clip from the same channel, Simply Bitcoin, where they're talking to Greg Foss, and he explains how the U.S. really needs to step up. They are the ones, often that tend to lead the race. And if they don't get on board with this innovation, the dollar could soon fall behind. And we could see these other countries actually moving forward because they are the ones that are truly going to embrace the innovation. But at the end of the day, Bitcoin ultimately is the end game.
I hope you appreciate. I don't have 100% clarity on this, but I do know that Bitcoin can help the stupidity of the fiat cycle that causes banks to be regularly insolvent. Okay, so that's a good thing. Yes, Bitcoin can help. Will it fix it? Hard to say, but it's our best chance. I don't see any other tool that will help fix the system like Bitcoin can fix. Then the second part of your question, so Bitcoin's the only solution that I see right now. Is it gonna fix it? Dang, I don't know, but it's where all my hope goes because there's nothing left. There's no other part of the system that can fix the fiat Ponzi. The second part of your question, will governments allow Bitcoin to succeed? And I'm going to come out very clearly and say there will be governments that embrace Bitcoin and governments that resist Bitcoin. And the governments that embrace Bitcoin, in my opinion, will be the winners. And the governments that resist Bitcoin will play their paths to destruction. So Jason Lowry thinks that there's governments that will embrace Bitcoin. They will be the winners. And if we can't convince the most freedom-loving government of the world, which still is the United States of America, if we can't convince them that Bitcoin is freedom and Bitcoin is hope, well, the other countries that do embrace Bitcoin will flip in the world order and the days of the USA as being, the guiding light for everyone else in the world, well, sorry, you lost your status. And unfortunately, that typically happens around every 100 years. And it's been about 100 years since the USA has been, the global reserve currency. So if you go by statistics, there should be a flippening.
And just to do a quick summary for people out there that think there's nothing happening in the background, you've got to be kidding. For being in a bear market, for being in crypto winter, look at just some of the things that we've had happen recently. We have BlackRock launching investing for its big institutional clients. MasterCard and Binance launching a prepaid card, offering crypto rewards in Argentina. NASDAQ launching NASDAQ digital assets, offering custody services for Bitcoin and Ether to their institutional investors. And a number of brokerages have opened the doors to crypto investing, including Stash's new crypto offering, Fidelity's new Ethereum index fund, and even my company, M1, and our launch of M1 Crypto. So obviously that's the author of this. But why? It says because they are thinking long term. Look at this, guys. A survey M1 conducted of over 1,000 retail crypto investors in September 22 showed that the majority of those investors plan to hold their current crypto assets for more than 6 months. In fact, despite the crypto winter, only 21% of respondents plan on selling. People are realizing the value of Bitcoin, the value of these cryptocurrencies. Not all of them, obviously 99% of them are garbage. But what is happening is we are seeing the world losing faith in their central banks. We are starting to realize this, and this is obviously because the internet has changed things, 30 years ago, where could we go for our information? We had a couple TV stations, the radio, everything's controlled by, like 9 centralized entities, maybe even less today. But now information is moving at the speed of light, and people are waking up to the reality of the situations that their governments, their central banks have put them in, right? Mike McGlone says Bitcoin may be entering an inexorable phase of its migration into mainstream. And something he noted is that record high hash rate could imply similar for Bitcoin. And having a look at this chart, I know it's a little blurry, but this is the hash rate and this is the price. And you can see that the hash rate is hitting all-time highs. This is showing that not only do we have investor confidence, not only are we seeing institutional confidence, sovereign, wealth looking maybe to start parking some of their assets in Bitcoin, but the miners have confidence as well, because the hash rate would not be this high if we did not have, the miners securing the network the way they are. If they were in losses, they would just be shutting it off and we would be losing that hash rate. We're seeing the complete opposite. We're seeing it grow higher and higher and higher. All the fundamentals for Bitcoin are growing, except the price doesn't seem to be following. And so many people focus on the price. But guys, this is temporary. This is just a short-term thing. When you look at the possibilities of $1 million, $2 million Bitcoin, or who even knows, looking in, what could happen in the next year or 2 years, I don't really understand why this is scaring people as much as it is. He says the fact that Bitcoin didn't even exist in October 2007, when crude oil rose to its current $84 a barrel for the first time, may indicate the appreciation advantage of the nascent technology, right? So, he says it's little surprise that a relatively new asset that has skyrocketed has declined due to the rapid pace of the Federal Reserve tightening, but Bitcoin is showing signs of bottoming and divergent strength in Q4, the lowest ever crypto volatility versus the Bloomberg Commodity Index. And while we've continued to see stocks really not do that well, Bitcoin has ultimately just continued to go sideways. Now, as I said, I do anticipate this boring, movement to end very soon. I do expect volatility, but the fact that we've just been bouncing really between this range, given all the uncertainty, the war going on in Russia, the situations with China and, Taiwan and Japan, we could just keep naming them, right? The Bank of Europe, right? We can just keep naming all these different things, the Credit Suisse situation, Lehman 2.0, and yet Bitcoin is just chugging along, holding very steadily right here. I think that really, really, really speaks volumes. And the other thing that speaks volumes, as in literally volume, is that we're seeing small to mid-size addresses hold the highest percentage of supply of all time. Now, I've heard some people say that, we've had the lowest whale supply since 2019. However, take this with a grain of salt. And the reason that I say this is because most investors, big whales, as they become more savvy, they're probably not holding all their Bitcoin in one wallet address. Let's be honest. If you have a ledger, Nano S, right, it generates new addresses every single time, right? So you could have one big whale that really has his or her funds Bitcoin distributed over hundreds of addresses, right? But one thing that we can look at is down here, we have the lowest since December 2021 of USDT and USDC market caps. So this is showing that we're seeing Bitcoin coming off the exchanges, right? We've seen Bitcoin getting pulled off exchanges, which could say that they're not looking to sell, they're accumulating. I went over this chart in yesterday's video, but at the same time, we're also seeing very low amounts, market caps of USDT and USDC. Now, generally speaking, if investors were looking to sit in cash on the sidelines and pounce on these low prices, you would see the stablecoin market cap going up, but we're not. We're seeing the stablecoin market coin going down while we're seeing the small to mid-size addresses going up. More people putting it in cold storage, less people holding these, dollar stablecoins looking to buy. This to me is really, if you read between the lines, it's kind of telling us where we're at in this cycle. Could the bottom not be in? Of course, guys, I've said the bottom has most likely been in. We've been correct for 5 months, but you know what? I could be wrong. Tomorrow, we could have that wick like we did, in 2 bear markets ago and have that fake out. And, we could hang out there for a little bit just to throw the markets off. But I do think that the worst is behind us. In fact, I think what we're moving towards now is a potential area of boredom. Honestly, or maybe a fake out rally and then we come back down and continue sideways again, because really that's how you push people out of the markets. It's not with price falling. When price is falling, it's still exciting. People are, it's not exciting to see your portfolio get hit, but it's like, oh, the price is crashing. People are talking about it. Right now, no one's talking about Bitcoin. No one asks me about Bitcoin. My friends are not calling me. My family's not calling me. No one that was asking me about Bitcoin, 8 months ago is asking me about it now. None. I don't get phone calls from anybody. This is telling me that they've lost interest, and this is telling me that we're close, because when everybody walks away, when everybody gets bored, when everyone stops paying attention, when everyone is assuming the worst, that's usually when things start to turn around. And you can see right here, investment juggernaut Fidelity's independent digital asset subsidiary is doubling down. Fidelity Digital Assets on hiring. So while we're seeing these other guys laying people off, we're seeing these guys hiring. They're actually taking advantage. The crypto arm is set to make 100 hires within the next 3 to 6 months. This comes as Fidelity makes several new moves into the digital asset space. So the big players, the big guys, they are preparing. They know what's coming. They understand bear markets. This isn't their first rodeo. They are preparing for the next big run, and they know that it's coming. They know that the Fed is positioning themselves in a corner where they can't run. They cannot keep doing what they're doing, and inevitably we will have that pivot. Now, I don't think the pivot is coming immediately. I think they're going to back down on the raises. I think they're going to let those rates stay. I think they're going to ride them out for a year, and then I think we're going to see them reverse. Pretty much actually like James Lavich said, I actually agree with him a lot on that. And look, Fidelity has rolled out Ethereum trading and custody. This is yet another advancement, right? There's always opportunities, and these guys are seeing it. For example, right here, just pointing it out, look at this, guys. Like Evan Van Ness pointed out, this was the first ever month of negative ETH issuance, right? And there are opportunities in bear markets. For example, this is Quant, right? Quant, you can see from the bottom right here, down in June of 2022, up to here is up 438% in a bear market. In a bear market. And this is not some low cap altcoin gem. This is actually on the front page, right? And by the way, I know what you're going to say. Well, I've never spoke about Quant. That's actually not true, guys. I was very, very bullish on Quant. And this is actually from back in July of 2019. I was on the Altcoin Daily Show. We were at the Tron event and they asked me for my top 3 altcoin picks. I'm not going to play this video. I don't want to toot my own horn. But if you guys want to watch this video, you can just look up Crypto Zombie top 3 altcoin picks from Altcoin Daily. And I actually picked 4 coins. It was a cop-out. But the 4 coins that I picked in this video was exchange tokens, BNB specifically, Ethereum, and then my 2 lower cap coins at the time were Chainlink and Quant. And those were the ones that I said, you don't want to be speculating on these crazy bulls, right? When you're in the bear. And if you want to look at when we spoke about this on July of 2019, even though, yes, Quant is down from its all-time high, we spoke about that all the way back here, guys, right back here. Look at that. If you had actually watched the video and subscribed to Crypto Zombie back then, we also called Matic. We called Matic at literally a quarter of a penny. Okay. And I remember Matic fell 72% one time. There was this big crash on Binance, and I had people reaching out to me saying, well, you said this was a good buy, scammer, what's going on? And guess what, guys? 2 years later, it did an 800x from a 72% crash. Look at this right here. Quant hit $11, right? And then what happened right here? Boom. It crashed to $1.80. This was March 15th of 2020. And everybody was like, it's over. Most people sold here. And look what happened. You're going to need patience in these markets, guys. If you're trying to make a quick flip, that does not happen in bear markets. Now is the time that you position yourself, you find those coins that you're interested in, and you hold. Or if you don't want to, buy tokens, there's a lot of other opportunities too. Here's a project that we've spoken about on the channel. So we have Agent 8, and this is not a promotion to go buy their token or nothing like that. I'm just explaining to you the opportunities. So they have obviously the dojo is a launch pad for hosting NFT sales. They're calling them IGOs for the best Web3 game projects with a focus on mostly the Solana ecosystem, right? It will provide exclusive opportunities for players to support the development of new Web3 games and offer early access to gaming and community future rewards. So the sales hosted on Dojo will provide immense benefit to our community. For the first time, players can actually invest in the creation of the new games that they want to play and directly share in their success. Now, personally, I still think that blockchain gaming is going to be massive. Just because we're in a bear market doesn't mean that you're not going to see that building, right? But the reason that I'm bringing this up to you is because Alloon is going to have their first NFT project launching, and this is an opportunity for the average person to get in on this. And, obviously the best time, in my opinion, to get into a project is at the absolute ground floor, right? You get in at the sale. The likelihood of you losing money, of course, is it possible? Anything can happen, not financial advice. Don't just do this because I'm talking about it, okay? Obviously, never just do anything because I talk about it, but these are good opportunities, and if you believe in the blockchain, gaming space, you believe in, NFTs, which, by the way, actually, if you want to look at this, statistic right here on NFTs, US has accounted for 37% of all DeFi volume, more than any other region. Decentralized exchanges saw more funds changing hands, but NFTs have generated the most web traffic in the States, right? Now, I know there's some bills coming out. We'll talk about that, or, some propositions of bit licenses and things that could potentially ruin this for the US. But right now, there isn't really anything holding, people back from these opportunities. So you can get involved in this if you guys want. And they do also have their early bird badge. So, like I said, guys, I'm not telling you to buy a token or do anything like that, but if you can get into these opportunities before they hit the exchanges at these pre-sales, these NFTs, these are the solutions, guys. Or you could just do things like, for example, we have walk-in. So now they're having their referral program. This is something, you exercise and you get free tokens. That's it. You don't have to buy anything. How much money are you really going to make? I have no idea, guys. Probably not that much. But, they also have a nice little referral program, so you can kind of refer your friends and family and you can get money that way too, right? And this is all passive. Of course, you can do a lot of other things. You can stake, but, these are the opportunities in the bear market. So, not financial advice. Don't just, jump on any of this because I talked about it. But, there are opportunities in bear markets. And as you guys have seen, things can look really, really bad. If we zoom in, to this area right here, it looked terrible. Look at this quant. Look at that. And everybody was like, wow, it's over. It crashed. It's down. Oh yeah? Zoom out. You see what I'm saying, guys? You need patience. You need patience in these markets, okay? So that is basically just that situation. And I did just want to end on this pretty cool thing. So Hodlonaut declared victory against Craig Wright. A Norwegian court has ruled that sufficient evidence exists that Craig Wright lied in an attempt to prove that he is the Bitcoin creator. I don't care what you guys think. This is my opinion. Strong opinion bordering on fact. Craig Wright is not Satoshi. If you watch this guy, the way he speaks, his mannerisms, they just don't line up with the way that Satoshi used to, comment back in the old forums back in the day. And I don't believe this guy is Satoshi. If he was Satoshi and he had the keys, move a coin from the address. The easiest thing to do, right? The easiest way to prove that you are Satoshi would be to move 1 Bitcoin out of Satoshi's wallet. That's all we ask. Just do that. He's yet to be able to do that. It's just been a lot of talk. So it is nice to see that, this victory was won. And, obviously getting back to the charts, not to scare everyone, but, over here on the weekly, if I switch this to the log, you can see that the next area of support is around $16,000. And that right here is where we had this resistance right here, and that's where we had this support right here. So that would be sort of my worst case scenario short term. If we did come down to that level, that could be that fake out. And, then we maybe do rally up and just be careful, shorting that. You may be able to catch the trade, but if we get something like this wick right here, and you're shorting down in this area, well, guess what, guys? You would literally have to wait pretty much 5 months to get down to that level again. And between the amount of money that you would literally be paying to hold that trade open, plus could you actually hold that trade open for that long to try to come down to profitability again? I don't know. So do be safe, guys. But obviously, if you are looking to trade, make sure that you check out the tutorials popping up right here, right now. You guys rock. Thanks again for coming back to the channel. I will try to bring you as much quality content during this bear market as I can. You guys rock. My name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.